Okay, so while I was implementing, I was recording in the middle of implementing the use before unload hook. We ran into, I ran into a bug that I hadn't picked up, and so um, I wanted to fix that before we try implementing the use before unload hook. So what the bug is so we go in the get started here, right? Um, in our application here, um, everything's clear. There's nothing in the local storage, right? So what is happening is that when we, let's log in real quick. So when we get started here and we go to the next, hold on, let's do this again. Okay, we go to next and we choose the symptoms. There is a bug. So in the past, when I refactored the pet assessment results, the results at some point was stored in the local storage, but it was never deleted. So when I refactored this component, I didn't reset the local storage, and so I didn't end up running into this bug. But apparently, what's happening is that the refactoring of this component ended up causing an undefined value. And I think the reason why it was working fine before, it was because we were accessing the results that were stored in here at some point, and it was never deleted. So we're gonna basically spend this in this video trying to debug and figure out how we can readjust our code for this to work when there is nothing in the local storage. Okay, so one of the approaches I take when debugging is sort of console log the process. So in here, when we were from the beginning, we had an empty object. So from form 1, pet info is being console logged, and initially it is an empty object, right? And then when we go to the next component, which is form 2, we're console logging it, and in the handle submit here, we are passing in the pet object with the pet info and the new values of which are the symptoms. So then you go to post pet info. So in use post pet info, you see here in post pet info, we have the object with the symptoms, right? So when we click next, what's happening is we are passing in. So I think at some point, so post pet info gets printed here, and it looks like pet is being defined. We are posting the pet response in post pet info, and we're getting a response of success with the data. The data is an object being returned for that particular pet, and then we set pet info to that data because we need to use that ID that is returned from the database. So we need to use this ID, right? So I think it looks like it's like an asynchronous issue here, because I think what's happening is that when we set response.data to pet info, we are being redirected. So it's like it's continuing the code even though this hasn't been updated yet, even though pet info hasn't been updated to have, wait, yeah, it's not being updated in time. So when you go to pet assessment and you're trying to use the pet info in pet assessment, so pet info and pet assessment results in, oh wait, but at what point? I still think it's an asynchronous thing because we are setting pet info in here, and then we're navigating the user to pet assessment. So when this component gets rendered at first, is going to be rendered with an empty array, because that is what results is when you go to use. Results is an empty array at first. So it's going to render with the empty array first, and then when we pass pet info ID to it, it's getting caught in that. So basically, as it's running the code, it's going through this code, and it's going on line 9, line 10, and then it's hitting the API here, and then it's continuing to render the rest of your code. So results right now is an empty array, because this hasn't returned a result promise yet, and so now it's trying to access results on an empty array. So I hope that makes sense. Even though pet info is the state is updated, and the hook is receiving the ID, because that's what it looks like it is doing. Use pet results. So you see, the results eventually get console logged. So this eventually gets console logged, and results get eventually set to the data that was returned from this request. But it's happening after the fact, after it's already here. So I think what needs to be done to fix this, I think what we need to do is basically say if results.length is greater than 0. So if my theory is correct and I understand this, what we basically want to do is, now I don't know if we want to do the whole thing or let's try doing the whole thing. So basically we want to say, why is it yelling at me? If results.length is great, so don't render this unless results is greater than 0. Oh, is it because I think I know why it's doing it. Let's just do no, that's not the problem. Okay, what is the problem? Okay, let me see. Okay, so we want to say if results.length, call this component, render this component if results.length is greater than 0. I don't know if it'll work me doing it this way. If it doesn't work doing it this way, I'm going to do it one other way, and if that doesn't work, then my theory was wrong. But that is what I'm thinking is happening right now. So let's go ahead and go back to the beginning. Reset this. Go next. Oh. Let's delete this. Go here. Go here. Moment of truth. Okay, so let me try one more thing. I had a feeling that wasn't going to work. So let's do... This is what we're going to do. Okay. Oops. Let's go to dashboard. Delete. Go to next. Huh. That's not working. Undefined is not valid. It's not valid JSON. Okay, so my second, or if this is, so since this didn't work out, let's go ahead and try to figure out, saying JSON.parse. Is that this right here? Is it because it's trying to parse something that doesn't This hasn't... Alright, let's do this. Oh. So I had nothing to do with this, actually. So there's something wrong with the use before unload. So I was completely wrong. Let me see. Wonder why the loading isn't working. But at least we got our results. So we'll take care of the loading part in a second. Okay, so there's something wrong with this code. Okay. Okay, so that changes everything, right? So we're gonna delete that. There's no console logging in here. Delete that. Delete that. Wait, no, leave that. And we delete. Okay. So apparently there is something wrong with the use before unload. That's the issue. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do routed. So when there's... Okay, so let's uncomment this. I think I know what's going on. Results is being changed, and so it's rendering this. And since results.length is 0, it's trying to call. Ooh, okay. So this is, okay, this is kind of like a catch 2020. I mean, sorry, no, not catch 22. It's 22 or something like that? I might have said it wrong. Don't crucify me. Okay, so, okay. Let me see if I can explain this. So, results is a dependency in here. Whenever it changes, it runs this. The condition says if results.length is 0, which it will be 0. If you noticed with the console logs, result was 0 at some point. And so it's trying to access pet results. So I think in this condition, instead of doing this, this condition is the issue. Because since results.length is 0, on first render, it's trying to run this code. And that's not what I meant to say. Basically what I wanted it to say is like, if there is nothing in local storage, then if there is something in local storage. So if local storage.pet results exist, then get that information. So actually, I think all we need to do is that. And then and say storage. I think that's all we actually need to do. Make sure there's nothing. Yeah. Yeah, that's all we need to do. Cool. So that was the bug. The reason why I did local storage and then local storage.pet is because if local storage isn't defined, I don't want it to. It's gonna throw an error if local storage is undefined and I'm trying to access a property. So I want to so the condition is first make sure that local storage is defined, because if it's not, then don't even bother doing the rest. If it is defined, try to access pet results. If pet results is undefined, forget about it, move on. If it is defined, access it. So I think that was the issue, and it seems to be working. So let's clear this out one more time. Go back to dashboard, delete this, go back here, go through this again. Sleep, coffee, breathing, get results. Okay, nothing is in here. Now we're gonna refresh. It's in there, and boom, it works. All right, now I do want to real quick figure out that loading situation. So when we go in here, let's clear this out. When we go in here, it's not triggering the is loading at all. Pet assessment results 15. Alright, yeah, let's get this. Get rid of this. And that is that's not what we want. If we are waiting, I need to see what is loading is once it's right here. So let's console log is loading. And use pet results. What is it initially? False. So let's go here. So at no point does it become true. It continues to be false. Oops. So let's do this. That didn't seem to work. Yeah, it didn't seem to work. Okay. Oops. I wonder why it's... Whoa. What? That's not good. I mean, it makes sense. Okay. Good thing I console logged it. Wait, let me clear this out. I feel like it's just going to the local storage. It's false. Say true. think what we can do. However, so that's working, but let me see if I can. Is loading as a dependency. Although I don't think that's ideal because like is loading. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, gosh, I forget. That. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So let's go ahead and do that. No. Oof. I think that's why I had originally turned it to false. That was the issue. Gotta turn it on and turn it back off and turn it on. Trying to think of how to do this. We could. Is this using a use effect? I don't. Wait, hold on. Let me think about this. No, this isn't gonna work. So, alright, let's think about this. Well, it's, on refresh, we are using this, and is loading goes back to its original state, which is gonna be true. On initially, it's going to be false, and then it's not going to become true until we have the. What I don't understand is why, if we set is loading to true here, and we put this as false, when this is alright, let's follow this logic real quick. So let's go ahead and clear this out. I'm gonna delete. I don't know why I have Bobby. We didn't need to put like a message saying you have no pets or something like that. But for now, we'll do this. We'll go here. Do this. Okay. So when we hit get results, we post data, we post the pet to the API. And then we navigate the user to this component and we call this hook with the pet info ID, right? Right now, so the initial state is going to be this, and this code is going to continue running while this is getting resolved, right? So this is going to be this code right here of fetching the API is going to be put to the side, and it's going to do its thing, and then it's going to continue. So we're going to set is loading to true while this is basically getting this shit together, right? When is loading changes to true, but here's the thing, when I was console logging it was never changing it to true. It stays false. So it's not. Yeah, it's not setting it to true. It's not running it. Um. Hmm. Let's go to source. Let's put a debugger in here. So right now, okay, go in here. Wait, what? Is it because of the... Nope, there's nothing in there. So you're telling me that you're calling this... Why are you going back onto the debugger? Okay, let's put this somewhere else. Are you telling me? Okay, let's try this again. And this time let's put breakpoint right there. So you're getting the results? So you're saying you're getting the results? Okay, so then, alright, bet. Shoot, then here we go. Let's do this. Why are you not resolving to false? You're true. Okay. Because get results is being called again. Up here. Hang on. Okay, it's false here. Okay, if it false while I'm stepping through it, when does it become true? Girl, what? Okay, why you got me in here? So I'm back in here. Yeah, ID is undefined. Why aren't you giving me its loading value? What is the value of its loading in this particular time? Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I love how it's not giving me the value of its loading, because that's literally all I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find out what the value of its loading is. Obviously is... So here is saying that it's false at some point while we were stepping through this. Okay. Crap. I messed up. I didn't want to go in there. Okay. If it has an ID, you want to set it to true. The reason is because if ID is defined, then we are hitting the API. I mean, basically do all of this. if ID is defined, you want to do all this. If not, leave it false. That worked. Cool. So that solved it. Yeah, I mean, that's more or less how you can go about debugging. I kind of do that. It's a little bit of both, console logging, debugging, going through, stepping through the code. The reason why I realized at some point when we were stepping through the use pet results, it was setting it to true, and it was still calling, it was still trying to hit the API with an undefined ID. So, I mean, it is best practice to only want to hit the API whenever this is actually defined. You don't, if this is undefined and you try to hit the API, it's kind of just like you're loading the server for no reason. So, so yeah, that's sort of how I came into, stepping through it and just trying to understand how the browser is running my code. And then figuring out, okay, since I want this to be true only when this is when ID is defined and when this is actually grabbing the results for the very first time. After that, ID is going to be undefined because pet info is going to be reset to its original state. And so if it's reset in its original state, at that point, we are no longer dealing with the API server. We are now dealing with the local storage. And as a result, when we refresh the page, its loading should be reset to its original state, which is false. In which case, the component will then grab the results from this local storage and render your results in the component using the information in local storage and no longer depending on the API's returned result promise. So, cool. So let's go through this one more time, see if it really worked. We're going to clear everything out, see if we find any bugs. So we're going to go through here. We're going to get this. Cool, we got results. Now, you say refresh. Boom. Awesome. Alright, well, didn't expect it to do that. Whatever. So let's go ahead and commit. So git add git commit. I'm going to say fix undefined value, fix undefined value bug when pet or in pet assessment component. Alright, so now that we have fixed that quick bug right there, we're going to now, actually, let's delete this, clear some of the things out. We're going to continue to implement this same approach with the use callback and using the use before unload in Form 2. So we're going to go back to what our original goal was, which is to try to keep this Form 2 consistent. Oh yeah, I forgot. But we'll do that in our next video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.